Hello and welcome to the dungeon. My name is Dan and today I've played a game of Warhammer 40,000, 1250 points, Niz versus Chaos Space Marines of the Night Lords Legion, and it's a great game. As you can see, I'm actually got some Dawn of War 2 footage. Don't worry, I haven't deceived you. The game will begin right now. In fact, let's get right to it. So for this mission, me and my opponent Mike have taken it straight from the Chapter Proof 2017. It's a Maelstrom of War mission, and we've gone for Tactical Gambit. First of all, this was a lot of fun to play. How it works is this: before you draw your objectives, you have to predict how many you will score, and yes, that is difficult depending on the cards you get. You can predict from 1 through to 4, you cannot predict 0, and if you get the points that, if you get the prediction with your objectives, you will get that many in points. So if I was to say I predict I'll get 2 of these objectives, I get 2 additional points as well as the points for the objectives themselves. However, if you fall short on getting the number that you quote, then your opponent will get those points. So if I was to say I'm going to bet I'll get 3 objectives and I end up only getting 2, my opponent would get 3 additional points, and I would get nothing additional. So it's a very nerve-wracking type of thing, because if you go too low, then you're not really getting the benefit out of this mission, but if you go too high and you can't get it, you're literally giving points to your opponent. Anyway, let's have a look at the army lists. So for my Tyranids, I've gone for the Jormagandr Hive fleet, which means I always gain the benefit of cover, even if I'm right in the open. The only exception to this is when I advance and when I charge. So this is my Warlord. He is a Tyranid Prime. He has 2 bone swords, a Death Spitter, and the Warlord trait he has is the Jormagandr one, which is Insidious Threat. So basically, he and any Jormagandr units within 3 inches of him, they ignore cover for their shooting attacks, which is quite nasty. So next up, as I'm running a battalion detachment, my second HQ is the Flying Tyrant you see before you. He is armed with 2 Brain Leech Devourers because they're great, as well as that he has wings, and on his tail I converted a Heavy Venom Cannon. The Heavy Venom Cannon is to represent the Miasma Cannon, which is a very nasty weapon. This is a 36-inch range Assault D3 weapon, Strength 9, AP 2, Damage 3. Now the reason I'm taking this is because if the target is within 8 inches, it automatically hits it. That is great for Overwatch. Also, it wounds targets other than vehicles on a 2-up. For my troops, I've gone for 5 standard Gene Stealers, 15 Hormagons with no additional benefits, and 4 Tyranid Warriors. So these go alongside the Prime, and I've armed them as you see. So 4 Death Spitters, one of them has a Bone Sword and a Lash Whip. For Elite, I've gone for 3 Venom Throats for that -1 to shoot goodness, and in Fast Attack I've got 3 Raveners. Each one is armed with a Death Spitter as well within the chest. Oh, just to mention, the battle itself is all in video. Anyway, on to my second attachment, which is a Spearhead. For my third HQ option, I've gone for a converted Neurothrope, and let me tell you, he is a nasty little bugger. Then I've gone to using a Khan Effects. It's a regular Khan Effects. It has got the +1 to its ballistic skill option, as well as the Shrouding Spores option, so it's -1 to be shot at. For its weapons, I stuck with the monstrous Scything Talons, and for a range weapon, the Stranglethorn Cannon. Then I've gone on to the Trigon. It's a regular Trigon with the bioelectric pulse, 6 assault, strength 5 shots. Now it does have adrenal glands and those toxin sacs to help it get into combat and do more damage. Finally, to round out my list, I have a Tyranids. He is armed with the Rupture Cannon, and that is about it. All this comes to 1250 points. And here are my beautiful Nids en masse, and they will be eating a lot for the Great Devourer. Just to confirm as well with my strategy, the Neurophrobe as well as the Venomphrobe, Gene Stealers and Hormagons will be in the back line, supported by the Carnifex on one side and the Tyrannifex on the other. In reserve I put the Trigon, the Raveners, the Tyranid Warriors, which are going to be coming in via deep strike, subterranean assault with the Trigon, and the Flying Hive Tyrant. For my Warlord, the Tyranid Prime, I've actually had to use one command point to put him in reserve because he has the infantry keyword, and he is Jormagandr, which is a Jormagandr stratagem. Alright, so now we go on to Mike's beautifully painted Night Lords army. So this is using the Codex Chaos Space Marines, and he, for his Warlord, has gone for a Chaos Lord with a jump pack and 2 lightning claws. Now he's using an artifact here, and these are called Claws of the Black Hunt. Be careful when saying that thing, it's definitely Black Hunt. Basically these claws give the Lord an additional attack as well as +1 strength, AP -3, D3 damage. The Legion trait, by the way, is Terror Tactics, so models in enemy units must subtract 1 from their leadership characteristic for each unit with this trait that is within 6 inches of theirs, to a maximum of -3, so it is cumulative. Whilst his Warlord trait is Night Haunter's Curse, so once per battle he can reroll a single hit roll, wound roll, damage roll, advance roll, charge roll or saving throw made for the Warlord, which is very useful. Next we've got a Warpsmith who is Wizzywig, so he's got the standard war gear of Melter Gun, Flamer, Pistol, Power Axe and the Servo Harness. For the first unit of Space Marines, 5-man squad, they are armed with a heavy bolter and the sergeant has a chainsaw and pistol. For the second squad, the sergeant has a power maul and pistol, and there is a plasma gun there as well. Finally, for the troops, we've got 10 cultists. The leader has a pistol and close combat weapon, 5 autoguns, 3 pistol and close combat weapon. Also a heavy stubber. And now we come to the fast attack and the Raptor squad. Very lore friendly, these Night Lords. So with the first Raptor squad of 6, we have 2 plasma guns, whilst the champ has 2 plasma pistols. Very nice. On to the second squad of Raptors, the 10-man squad. The champ has a plasma pistol and a fist. 2 Raptors have plasma pistols. Then we've got 2 very nicely painted Morphines with Lasher tendrils, and what I like most about these models is they seem to be eating some Dark Angels, which I wholeheartedly approve. And finally we come to the Sicaran battle tank from Forge World. This is armed with twin accelerator battle cannons, sponson las cannons and a heavy bolter. All in all this comes to 1247 points along with 6 command points. Okay, so here is deployment and both sides are looking for a scrap. The Sicaran is looking very nasty. And here is the first roll off. He gets a +1 to dice since I had more drops, and he gets a 1. Great start. For me, I get higher than a 2, so I get to go first. However, he decides he wants to try and seize, and what does he roll? He rolls a 6. Well, done. So, Chaos Space Marines turn 1, Mike predicts that he'll get one objective, and the 4 he draws are Secure Objective 4, Overwhelming Firepower, Blood and Guts, and Assassinate. I won't go through all of these objectives directly, but if you pause the vid you can read for yourself. Okay, so it's now the start of turn 1 and he is shuffling closer to me. First one Chaos Space Marine squad and then the 2 Mauler Fiends. Everything else has remained stationary, but the Chaos Lord decides to come in and have some fun. Alongside him is the first squad of 6 Chaos Raptors. And here comes the big 10-man squad. So to begin the shooting phase for the Night Lords, we have 4 bolt guns and 1 plasma shooting at my Gene Stealers, -1 to hit due to the Venom probes. 3 bolters get through to my Gene Stealers, but only one of them damages. I always have cover, so it's a +1 to my save of a 4-up and I make it. For the plasma gun, Mike decides not to overcharge and it hits and then wounds. I have an invul save of a 5-up, but I fail. So next, the Sikaran's autocannon will fire at my Venom probes. 5 hit, 3 misses, and it's just freeze to wound. Which they all do, and additional damage for the 6s. 1 Venom probe is down already, and to keep the others alive I need as many 5-ups as I can. But unfortunately I only get enough to save 1 of them, and that unit is down to 1 remaining Venom probe. As you can see, as I decide which one to remove. At this point the Sikaran now lines up my Gene Stealers with its heavy bolter. So 3 shots hitting on 3s, no modifier. And to go through, how many damage? Just 1. Okay, let's go. I'm still in cover, so +1 to my save. But I go and roll a 1. The Sikaran isn't done being a Nid slaying bastard and aims for my cannon effects with its 2 las cannons. Both hit, 1 wounds and 1 does not, which is I suppose a small mercy. He does decide to command reroll 1 of those dice. And it still failed to wound, so that teaches him right. I need a 5-up to prevent the damage, and I get a 4. Great. So damage on the last cannon is d6, and he rolls a 5, which is more than half. So now the cultists decide to join the party with their autoguns, but fail to hit my remaining Venom probe. The heavy stubber decides to give it a go, and 1 gets through. He needs a 4 to wound, but fail. Now the heavy bolter from the second Chaos Space Marine squad shoots at my Gene Stealers, 3s to hit, which he makes all 3 of them, and then he'll need 3s to wound, which he makes 2 of them as well. From this, 1 save and 1 dead. The 6-man Raptor squad overcharges their plasma and aim for the Tyranids. The champion with the 2 plasma pistol fires and both hit. Good for him. Next, the first rapid firing plasma gun. He gets 1 hit and 1/1, but because of the Lord by him he gets to reroll that 1, which he does. And it's another hit. Finally, the second rapid firing plasma gun. They are 2 hits. Right, so now to wound. The T-Fex is toughness 8, so he needs 4s to wound, and he gets only 2. I need 5 to save the damage, and I roll Snake Eyes. Great. Now the rest of the squad shoot at him with their pistols, with only one getting through, and he needs a 6 to wound, which he gets. So now the T-Fex needs a 2-up save to make, so hopefully I'll be able to make it. And I do. It bounces off his chitin armor. Next up, the 10-man Raptor squad shoot at my Jormagandr to get through, but he uses his reroll of 1s to reroll, and again because it's cocked, so 3 hits. He now needs 3s to wound, and he gets all 3 of them. I need 5 to live, and I don't make a single one. So 3 Jormagandrs become biomass. Then we've got 4 more bolt pistols aimed at the big T-Fex. 3 hit with a reroll, which misses. So now he needs 6s to wound since I'm toughness 8, and he actually gets one. I need a 2-up save thanks to my always in cover, and I make it. Finally, for the shooting phase, we have 3 more pistols. So the first pistol, the non-sergeant, hits. Then the sergeant, or the champion, he hits as well. And finally another non-champion, he hits too. So 3 hits. Let's see if they wound. They need 4s. And he makes 2 of them. Okay, so I have again 2 5-ups to make. And lo and behold, I make one. So, onto charging, and the 10-man squad clears a charge against the T-Fex and the Jormagandrs. The T-Fex gets 3 shots with his rupture cannon, but unsurprisingly completely misses. Then I have 4 stinger salvo shots, hitting on 6s, and 1 gets through. I need a 3 to wound toughness 4 though, which I do not get. For charge distance, the Raptor squad needs a 9 to get in, and they make it. Next is his Warlord, who also needs a 9. But he fails to get it, so he stays where he is. He decides to use his Warlord trait reroll once per turn, but this is an epic fail as well. He then throws down Veterans of the Long War for +1 to his wound rolls. Next he piles his raptors into the Jormagandrs as much as possible, but some have to stay and fight the T-Fex. Now we've got 14 attacks from the raptors onto the Jormagandr squad. 3s to hit, which a good number do, and then 2s to wound due to the stratagem. This results in 10 saves to make. So I roll, and actually 3 of them survive with 6s, but 7 still go on to the great mouth in the sky. I try and ninjally take one of his raptors, but he cuts onto it, and yeah, it stays where it is for the time being. So now it's my turn to fight back with the T-Fex going first. So he has 4 attacks hitting on 4s, but only 2 go through, and he needs 3s to wound because he's only strength 7, which he gets. So he's only AP 1 in close combat, so 4s to save the raptors. 1 makes it, but the other one does not. Now the Jormagandrs get to fight back, and to try to avenge their fallen comrades, they need 4s to hit, rerolling 1s due to scything talons. And 5 attacks get through, and we also need 5 to wound, but there is only 1 wound against the raptors. 3-up save, which is made. There's no morale test either side, so right now we're checking objectives, and by the narrowest of margins, it looks like the Raptors have claimed Objective 4, so good job to the Raptors. For scoring, He does secure objective 4 and gets a point for that. As it matches his prediction, he gets an additional point for 2 points in total. And he discards Assassinate. Tyranids, turn 1. I predict that I will get 2 of my objectives. I draw secure objective 5, secure objective 1, and mission critical I roll a 6, as well as supremacy. For my movement, the C-Fex is going to waddle over to the raptors and say hello. The Venom Thrope also wants to take part in the party, so he shuffles on forward with his little cloud of spores. Not wanting to be left out, here comes the Neurothrope. The Gene Stealers also moved to an objective, but I mislaid that footage, so here is the Tyranid Prime coming in via Deep Strike, or the new Codex equivalent, and the Trigon as well. From the tunnels of the Trigon, here come the Tyranid Warriors, and then the Hive Tyrant and the Raveners. On to my favourite phase, the Psychic phase, and the Flyrant is about to cast the Horror onto this squad here, which means -1 to their hits and their morale. I get it on an 11, it should have been a Smite. Next comes the real Smite on the same squad as well, and I roll, and I just get it on a 5. It's D3 mortal wounds, but only one takes a headache and has his head explode. Oh well, maybe next time. Now on to the Neurothrope, and we're doing the beta rules for Smite, so +1, but I make it on an 8 against the Raptors. I get a 1 again. It's time for a command reroll, and I get another 1. Yay. Onto the shooting phase now, and the C-Fex wants to try and take down that Mauler Fiend with his Stranglethorn Cannon. For shots I roll a d6 and I get a 2. Okay, could be worse. So 2 shots hitting on freeze due to enhanced sensors, and he gets a single shot. So for this he will need a 3 to wound, which he gets. So let's see if the Mauler Fiend can save it, and he can! Next we have the Raveners shooting at the cultists with their Death Spitters. 9 shots in total, hitting on 4, and 7 get through, ignoring their cover of course. It's 3 to wound due to being strength 5, and 6 manage to land the blow. When it comes to armor, 3 of them get slain. And that's leaving the Sergeant by his lonesome. Aww. Next, the Flying Hive Tyrant will try and shoot the Mauler Fiend, Miasma Cannon, and I get 1 shot. Since it's D3, I command reroll it to get another 1 shot. Yeah, it's gonna be one of those types of games. So 1 shot it is, and I get it on a 3. Now I need to wound it on a 3 as well. Do I make it? No, I do not. It's not yet over for the Flyrant as he loads up his Brain Leech Devourer Worms. 12 shots, 8 go through. Let's see if he can land a wound. 5 to wound as the Mauler Fiend is toughness 7, and 2 of them go through. So now he has his saves. 1 goes through and 1 does not, so 1 damage. The Warriors will now try shooting at the Mauler Fiend. We have 12 shots hitting on 3s, but despite the prime, only 6 of them find their mark. It's 5 to wound, and I only get 1. And even worse, I knock down one of my buildings with a slight earthquake, and things go flying. And he goes and makes his save. Next, my prime tries shooting at the Mauler Fiend 2 and gets 2 hits, but when it comes to rolling to wound, nada. When it comes to charges, my Raveners declare charge against the remaining Chaos Space Marine in the ruin. They need a 9-inch charge, and they fail. Oh well. The warriors try and show them how to do it, and again they need a 9-inch charge, same target, guy in the ruin, and this time they make it. Now the Venom Thrope and the Carnifex will assault that Raptor squad, and both of them make it in with ease. Now comes the Carnifex's Living Battering Ram. So for this I need a 4 for a mortal wound, and I get it, that's one more dead raptor. So for assault my Carnifex goes first with 4 attacks, 3 of them hit, and I'll be requiring 3s to wound. And all 3 wound. So the raptors have a 6 of armor, and all 3 of them fail, 3 dead marines. Next my Venom Thrope will get his tentacles out for some fun. 2 attacks, hitting on 4s, only 1 hit, but I do have a reroll which fails to hit. And it's a wound. So over on the other side of the board, in the other battle, my 4 Tyranid warriors consolidate to try and kill the Chaos Space Marine champion, and things are looking good for them. So it's the warriors assault, hitting on 3s, 12 dice, 10 of them go through, so we're looking good to finish this last guy. 4s to wound, and that's a good number of wounds. The champ has 6 saves to make, and like a legend he makes every single one of them. I remember 1 more additional attack due to the bone sword, but I completely whiff with a 1. Now it's the T-Fex, and with 4 attacks, 4's to hit, 2 of them get through, and he needs 3s to wound, which he gets 1. Now I say it's a 6 up, actually it's a 4 up, so my bad. So that raptor shouldn't have died, so my apologies to my opponent. Anyway, chain swords against the Gons, 1 hits, 1 wounds, and I need a 6 up save to prevent the damage, which I do make. We have more chain swords now against the T-Fex. It's 2 hits, 1 goes through, but fails to wound since he needs 6, and now the champ's power fist will try, 1 hit, and he needs a 4, which he fails. And now it's the Gons who get to fight back. There's 10 attacks in total, hitting on 4s, rerolling 1s due to their Siphon Talons, and a good number of them get through. So next I shall be wounding on 5s, and lo and behold I make 4 of them. He has 4 saves to make and actually fails 3 of them, so that's 3 dead raptors. At the end of my turn 1, Supremacy is worth 2 points for me. I also scored Objective 5 and Mission Critical 6. Because what I got matched my prediction, I get 2 points for that, for 6, and then 1 more for First Blood. Chaos Space Marine turn 2, Mike predicts that he will get 2 objectives this turn. He then draws Claim and Despoil and Behind Enemy Lines. So this Mauler Fiend heals 1 wound, back to full, and heads backwards to try and save his Chaos Space Marine champ friend from being murdered. The other one decides he wants to take a bite out of the Carnifex, so eyes him up menacingly. The second CSM squad move closer to gun down the Gene Stealers, whilst his Warpsmith decides to lend out a helping hand, or Mechatendril. As for the Sakaran, he stays put but moves his turret to get a bead on something. The Raptors need to get Objective 4, so they very carefully get close to it. The Chaos Lord makes some baby steps closer to the Gons, and the cultists come down from their tower. The healthy Chaos Space Marine squad, they load their bolters and look towards the Gene Stealers, 3s to hit and 2 make it, so now we're looking at 4s to wound, but nada. Next is the Plasma Gunner with one shot. He hits and he wounds as well. So another Gene Stealer bites for dust. Next up it's the Cultist, and the Heavy Stubber eyes up the Gene Stealer, whilst the other guns are gonna take a pop at my Jormagandrs. Let's see how they do. Long story short for this, everyone misses. The one shooting the Jormagandrs miss, and the Heavy Stubber completely misses the one remaining Gene Stealer. It's misses all round. And now the mighty Chaos Lord decides to throw a hand grenade at my Gonds. He gets 5 shots, he's hitting onto re-rolling 1s, and he gets a single 1, which he gets to re-roll because he's a Chaos Lord. All 5 shots find a mark. Now he needs freeze to wound, and only gets a single wound. That's a budget grenade for you. I need a 6-up however, and I don't get it. 1 dead Gond. The Raptors aim their plasma guns at the T-Fex and their bolt pistols at the Jormagandrs. For the Jormagandrs first, they need freeze to hit, falls due to the Venom Probe, and they get a single hit but re-rolling, and it's 2 hits. They need freeze to wound and only get 1. It's a 5-up save, which they make. Now, on to the T-Fex. This is the plasma, so roll and see if they explode. They are overcharging. So that's 1-1, but it gets to reroll due to chaos being there, so that's 2 successful hits. Number 2 is 2 more successful hits, and the final plasma gun, that's another 1. Does he get another 1? He gets a 2, so 5 successful hits in total. He needs 4s to wound, and he gets 2 of them. At this point I have a 5-up save. I roll a 1 and a 4. Both go through, that's 4 damage in total. The Sicaran allocates hits to the Flyrant with the Accelerator Cannon, Last Cannons on the C-Fax, and Heavy Bolter on the Gene Stealer. 3 shots so far. 2 hit the Gene Stealer, needs freeze to wound, that's 1 miss and 1 cocked, another 1 cocked, and finally a wound on a 4-up. I have a 5-up to try and stay alive. Do I make it? No, so my last Gene Stealer is gone. Over to the Carnifex now with the Last Cannons. He needs freeze to hit, and he gets a 1 and a 2. As for the Accelerator Autocannon, he needs freeze to hit and completely whiff with only 3 hits. At this point he now needs 4s to wound and gets a single wound. I still have my 3-up save, which is now a 4-up, which I make. Now on to charges, and the Morphine near my warriors rolls an excessive 11, so he can go literally wherever he wants to. As for the second Morphine, he's going for both the Carnifex and my Venom Probe in 1 charge. For my Carnifex, I roll a d6 on the Stranglethorn Cannon for shots, and I get 3. So 6s to hit the Morphine, and not a single one. The Venom Probe has 2 shots with its tentacles, but doesn't get a 6 either. So now for the charge distance, the Morphine gets a 5, which is not enough to get into close combat range with the Venom Probe, just the Carnifex. The scary Chaos Lord has had enough of those Gaunts, so declares a charge against them. He only needs a 2, but he gets an excessive 9, so he can go wherever he wants to. For the fight phase, he uses a stratagem on the Morphine near my warriors, Demon Forge, to reroll hits and to wound. He has 4 attacks and 4s to hit, but due to the stratagem he gets to reroll those misses, and all 4 hits go through. Now he just needs 2s to wound since he's at strength 12, and all of them wound. The entire squad gets absolutely crushed. The second Mauler Fiend has hit my Carnifex 4 times and now needs 4s to wound. He gets 2 4-ups. When it comes to my saving throws, I fail both of them and the Carnifex is torn to shreds. Then the Morphine moves into base-to-base contact with the Venom Thrope. Now over to the Chaos Lord, he wants to kill all those Jormagandrs and he has 5 attacks due to his Claws of the Black Hunt. He gets all 5 hit and 3 to wound and all 5 wound. I have no armor, so the entire Jormagandr squad is destroyed and it's not looking too good for the Tyranids right now. The Lord has consolidated into my Tyrannifex, so he gets to fight back with 4 attacks, hitting on 4. The big scary T-Fex only wounds on 3s and gets a single wound on the Lord. It's AP -1. The Lord has a 4-up save, which he fails but uses his Warlord trait to reroll and he gets a 6. Now it's all about the Venom Thrope, so 4's to hit and he makes 1, 5's to wound and he does, and the Morphine has a 3-up save, which he makes. He then fails his Toxic Miasma roll. So at the end of Chaos turn 2, Mike has scored all 4 of his objectives. Now Blood and Guts and Claim and Despoil are worth D3 points each. He rolls and gets a 1 and a 2, so each one's only worth 1 point for him. So with the 4 objectives, that's 4 points, plus the 2 he predicted, which brings him to 6, plus the 2 from earlier gives him a total of 8 at the time being. So next, Tyranids turn 2. Once again I predict I will score 2 of my objectives. I draw Defend Objective 2, Decapitate and Terrify. For a quick movement recap for the Tyranids, everything is shuffling towards the middle and the Neurothrope is going to try and assassinate the Chaos Lord. Onto Psychic, and the Neurothrope tries to cast Smite on the Warlord. He needs a 5 and gets a 7. It's D3 damage and I roll a 3, so that's 2 mortal wounds on the Chaos Lord. For one of my objectives, I need to make a unit fail its morale test, so I'm casting the Horror on the Cultist unit, which goes off. At this point, we try and cast Smite on the Mauler Fiend, and I forget that we're using the beta rules for Smite and cast it on an 11 rather than a 10. I think it's D6, so I roll for damage and get a 6. Now the Trigon tries to Bioelectric Pulse the Mauler Fiend and gets 5 hits off. He needs 5s to cause any type of damage, and I get 3 of them. The Mauler Fiend has a 3-up save and makes all of them like a boss. The Raveners take aim at the Warpsmith, but he uses a command point for in Midnight Clad, so all shooting attacks made against him are reduced by 1. So it's 9 shots, 5s to hit, but only 2 of those hits get through. For damage I need 3s, and both of them do so. The Warpsmith now has a 3-up save due to -1, and he fails both of them. Tyranid Prime now shoots at the Mauler Fiend. He has 3 shots, hitting on 3s, all of them go through, now wounding on 5s, which is just 1. The Mauler Fiend has a 4-up save, which is failed, so 1 damage goes through. Now the Flying Hive Tyrant allocates his flesh-eating Devourer Worms against the Cultists. It's 12 shots, hitting on 3s, and a lot go through. Now it's wounding on 2s. And there are 2 1s there. The Cultists have 5 saves to make. They need a 6, and they make 3 of them, so only 2 die in total. For his second shooting attack, the Hive Tyrant uses his Miasma Cannon, auto hits 3 shots, wounding on 3s, and all of them go through. The Mauler Fiend has a 5-up save. He makes 1 of them, but that is enough to kill the Mauler Fiend. He does not re-roll and rolls a 2 for explosion, so no explosion. Now I use single-minded annihilation on the Raveners for more shooting. It's 4 to hit, aiming at the cultists, 3 dice get through, and it's also 3 to wound. All of them do cause a wound, and that's 3 more dead cultists. Next, the Raveners declare an assault against the Warpsmith, who uses his Flamer in retaliation. He gets 6 shots of them, wounding on 4s. He gets 3 of them, and I have 3 4-ups to make. And I make every single one of them. The Warpsmith still has a melt gun for Overwatch, which he misses, so the Raveners just need a 2, but for their charge range they roll a 7, which is more than enough. Next, the Tyranid Prime does not want to be left out, so declares a charge against the one remaining Chaos Champion in the ruin, makes it on a 12 and gets his blades nice and sharp. As for the Neophrope, he also declares a charge against the Chaos Lord and easily makes it. I forget that the Raveners have 2 pairs of Scything Talons each, so there's only 12 attacks. 10 of them get through though, hitting on 3s. When it comes to wounds though, I need 4s. But tragically, I only get 2 of them. So, on to the saves for the Warpsmith. And he only fails once. I missed this on camera, but at this point the Chaos Lord interrupts and uses up all of his remaining command points to attack my T-Fex. Ultimately he does 5 damage with his Claws of the Black Hunt, and over to the Neurophrope now. The Neurophrope has 1 attack which hits on a 5, and against the Chaos Lord wounds on a 6. The Chaos Lord gets his normal 3-up save but gets a 1 instead, and 1 damage goes through to the Chaos Lord. Now I need the T-Fex to kill off the Chaos Lord. He hits both with his attacks and wounding on 3s, but I roll a 2 and a 1, much to my dismay. I use a command reroll on that wound roll and get a 4. The Lord though rolls a 6 for armor and survives. Damn. Next, the Mauler Fiend has a hankering for some Venomthrope flesh, and 4 attacks hitting on 4s but only 1 gets through. He needs a 3 to wound, gets it, and that Venomthrope is no more. Now it's time for my Tyranid Prime as he goes against that remaining Chaos Champion. He has 2 attacks, goes through, and he needs to wound on a 4, which he does. The champion fails his save and he is dead. Over to the Warpsmith now with his Power Axe, so he has 3 attacks hitting on 3s, but only 1 gets through to the Raveners. It's going to be wounding on a 4, which he makes easily, and it is a 6-up save to prevent that damage, which I fail, so 1 damage. Finally, it's Mecha Tendril Clock with 2 more additional attacks. Both of them hit. He needs a 4 to wound. He gets 1, and it's another 5-up save from a Ravener, which fails. So 1 more damage goes through. Now on to morale, and the cultists fail it on a 5, which when looking at the remaining numbers wipes out the entire squad and gets me that 1 objective. I only score Terrify, which is worth 1 point, so 2 points goes to my opponent for his score. I discard Defend Objective 2. Chaos Space Marine turn 3. Mike predicts that he will get 2 of his objectives, and then he draws For the Dark Gods, Secure Objective 3, Psychological Warfare, and Big Game Hunter. So, turn 3 movement for the Chaos Space Marines, and the remaining Chaos Space Marine squad decides to climb into that building to get that objective. As for the Sakaran, it reverses away from the scary looking Raveners and points its guns at something else. The final Mauler Fiend is ready for some revenge. Now the scary Chaos Lord decides to GTFO out of there and goes to hide behind his raptors. What a badass. And the raptors just move along closer to the objective. The Warpsmith now shoots his pistol in combat. He hits on a 3, wounds on a 6, and I have a 4-up save which I fail, so 1 dead Ravener. So now the Chaos Lord has 1 grenade attack against the T-Fex. He is in distance and he's hitting on a 2-up, which he fails, so he uses his inbuilt reroll to get a 2. And he is now wounding, well, not a 1. Now it's overcharged plasma time, so the first gunner, he misses completely but does not blow himself up. The second gunner gets 1 hit and 1 miss, but again does not blow himself up. And the third gunner gets 2 hits, so that's 3 hits in total aimed at my T-Fex, wounding on 4s, which 1 goes through. But when it comes to my save, I go ahead and make it on a 6. Then a grenade from the Sergeant, which misses, and bolt guns, 2 hits, but fail to wound. Right, over now to the Sicaran again. First it's the las cannons, but they are firing blanks. The heavy bolter misses completely, so we have shots at the Hive Tyrant, 6 hit, and at strength 7, toughness 7, he needs 4s to land a wound, and he gets 5 of them. I'm looking at 5 4-up saves, and I only make 3, that's 4 damage going through. The Raptors decide to charge the T-Fex, and he responds by overwatching with Rupture Cannon, getting a single hit with a 6. He needs a 2 to wound, gets a 3, and it's a 6-up save to survive, which fails, so that's 1 dead Raptor. The T-Fex's Stinger Salvo misses completely, and the Raptors make their charge. Right, and on to the Mauler Fiend. The Mauler Fiend is within 8 inches, so the Miasma Cannon auto hits with 3 shots. He will be needing 3s to wound, and I go and roll 2 6s, but the Mauler Fiend has a 5-up invulnerable save, which is made. Now it's 12 shots from the Devourers, and 5 of them hit. 5s to wound, which only 1 does, but the Mauler Fiend has his 3-up save, which again is made. Now for charge distance, he rolls a 3. We eventually agree he has made it, and the Mauler Fiend comes in to say hello. When the Mauler Fiend is hitting the Tyrant on 4s and gets 1, he's also wounding on a 4, which he makes, and the Tyrant fails his save. Now it's the Lasher Tendrils, and he gets 6 attacks, hitting on 4s. He gets 2, and then finally for wounds he gets 1, so 1 5-up save to make, which again fails. So just to recap, the T-Fex has got 1 wound left, and the Raptors hit with all their attacks, rerolling 1s, and a good number go through. He now needs 6s to wound and gets a single 6. It's a 3-up save, and should I fail it, I do have a command point for a reroll. I get a 2, so I decide to use my command point, and let's see what I get. 3! Now over to the Warpsmith, and he has 3 attacks with his power axe. He gets 3 hits, plus 1 strength, and that's 3 wounds. So it's over to the Raveners to make as many saves as possible. 2 5-ups are rolled, and 1 wound goes through. Now it comes to the Mecha Tendrils, and 2 attacks, both hit, both wound, and 2 saves to make. 1 pass, 1 fail, 1 dead Ravener. The surviving Ravener tries to fight back, with less attacks than he should. He gets 1 hit, but fails to wound. Good job. Then we come to the Flying Hive Tyrant, 4 attacks hitting on freeze, 3 of which go through against the Mauler Fiend. Now he needs 5s to wound and only gets 1. The Mauler Fiend has his 3-up save, which is easily made. Then we come to his tail attack, hits on a 3, but fails to wound. Finally, it's a T-Fex who can't be asked, 1 hit out of 2, and when it comes to his damage roll, he rolls a 1. So at the end of Mike's turn 3, he was only able to get secure objective 3, which means 2 points go over to the Tyranids. Now Mike does discard Psychological Warfare, which brings his total up to 11. Tyranids, turn 3. Once again, I predict I will score 2 of my objectives, and I draw Defend Objective 1 and Defend Objective 3. The Neophrobe is missing his best bud, the Chaos Lord, so he wants to advance over to him, and rolls a 4, plus his 5 regular movement equals 9, which is close, but just not close enough to smite him next turn. For a brief recap, the Trigon gets closer to the Mauler Fiend, the Hive Tyrant gets closer to Objective 1, the Prime gets closer to the Warpsmith. The Raptors are closer for Smite, so the Neurophrobe gets it on a 5 and does a single mortal wound to them. Now the Hive Tyrant tries to cast Smite. Remembering the beta rules, I roll a 5, which is 1 less than I need, so I re-roll that 1 with my last command point and get another 1. That fails, but I do instead try and cast the Horror on the Mauler Fiend. I get it on a 7, so -1 to hit and morale. Miasma Cannon time. On the Mauler Fiend, auto hitting as in 8 inches, so how many shots do I get? 3. Once again, wounding on 3, so how many wounds do I get? Well, 2 of them go through, so the Mauler Fiend has his 5-up invul save again. 1 success, 1 fail, so 3 damage. Brain Leech Devourer time on the Mauler Fiend, 12 shots hitting on freeze. Of those 12, only 8 make it through to bite him, and of those 8, 4 do damage. Let's see if his save can prevent any of that damage. They do, apart from 1, so 1 more damage goes through. Over to a Trigon who wants to play as well. He has 6 shots hitting on 4s. All of them go through, so now wounding on 5s, of which 2 go through. 2 more saves, 1 passed, 1 failed, 1 more damage. Tyranid Prime is also wanting to party, so shoots at the Mauler Fiend. 3 shots hitting on freeze. 2 of them find their mark, and wounding on 5s, which both do. The Mauler Fiend though makes his saves. Right, time for charging, and the Neurophrobe declares a charge against the Raptors and makes it with a 5. Over here the Trigon wants to hug the Mauler Fiend. Let's see if he can make it. With an 8, yes he can. And now over to the Tyranid Prime, he needs, well, a 2 will do it. And he gets a 3. So, good job. An epic duel is taking place as the Warpsmith fights the Tyranid Prime, the Prime going first. 4 attacks hitting on 2s, all of which hit, and then wounding on 4s, 3 of which go through. As for the Warpsmith save, he saved L but 1, which means he is decapitated. Off he goes. and they both consolidate closer to the Sicaran. Right then, Trigon versus Morphine. Trigon going first. All 6 hits go through. So now he will be wounding him on 4s, of which 2 go through. So now the Morphine has a 5-up save. And he fails both of them. For damage though, it's d6 apiece. So let's see what happens. He gets a 7, which is more than enough, and the Morphine dies, but does not explode. Oh well, bye bye Morphine. Trigon inches closer. Neurothrope time. 1 attack. He hits. Does he wound? No. Next unit. T-Fex. 2 attacks. Does he hit? No. Right. Next unit. Chaos Lord is now going to try and fight the T-Fex. All attacks hit with a reroll, and he'll need 6s to wound, and does not get a single 6. 4 points. I get secure objective 1, and I also score decapitation for killing the Warpsmith. I discard defend objective 3. This brings my total score, including my prediction of 2, to 14. Chaos Space Marine turn 4. Mike predicts he will get 2 of his objectives, and he draws Aerial Denial and the Long War. So for Night Lord's movement, the only thing that happens is the Chaos Space Marines get closer to the Flying Hive Tyrant and try to take it out with their plasma and bolters. Everything aimed at the Hive Tyrant. First of all, the plasma goes first. He is in rapid fire range, so 2 shots. He gets a 1 and a 2. He did overcharge, so now he kills himself. Well done, mate. And now it's bolter fires at the Hive Tyrant. 3 get through, and there is a single wound amongst them, but I do have a 2-up save, which I make easily. At this point now, the Sicaran declares Exterminatus upon the Flying Hive Tyrant, and every single gun is aimed at it. First of all, the Heavy Bolter. We have 2 shots, but both of them fail to wound. Then he revs up the Accelerator Autocannon with 8 shots, but only 3 of them find their mark, and when it comes to wounding, only 2 go through. So now I have a 3-up armor save. I make 1 with a 6 and fail 1 with a 1. It's last cannon time. 2 shots, 1 misses, the other hits. It wounds, and I have a 4-up save, which I fail. Now, this could kill me now if he rolls high. And he does. A 6, the Hive Tyrant is no more. Over here, and the Raptor Champion shoots at the Tyrannifex with his pistol. He needs 3s to hit, he's overcharged, both hit, and 4s to wound. He gets a single wound. I have a 5-up save, which I fail with a 2, and the T-Fex finally goes down and doesn't even do his death throws. What a waste. Tired of firing grenades instead of fighting, the Chaos Lord decides to assault the Neurothrope, and he makes it easily. 5 attacks, hitting on 2s, rerolling 1s, all 5 hit. He now needs 3s to wound. And gets 4 of them. He rerolls, but only has 4. I have my 3-up invul save, and I make 3 of them. At which point the one that goes through is damage D3, and the Chaos Lord rolls a 1, which he tries to reroll but fails. Now the rest of the Raptors jump in to make the Lord feel better. And we've got a bunch of attacks coming his way, hitting on 3s, rerolling 1s, and 4 of them go through. It's freeze again to wound, but only one makes it. I have my free up save though, which is made. Then the Neophrobe fails to do anything. Once again, he ends up getting all of his objectives. Aerial Denial is worth 2 points, so that brings him to 5, plus 2 that he predicted equals 7. His total at the moment is 20. Tyranids, turn 4. For the 4th time, I predict I will score 2 of my objectives, and I draw Defend Objective 4, No Prisoners, and Blood and Guts. The Neophrobe floats out of combat and gets his brain ready for some smite action. The Trigon gets closer to my side of the board and is ready to go and kill some raptors in the assault phase. As for my Tyranid Prime, he wants to get the hell out of there since the Sicaran has got his sights aimed at him and advances behind the building, but not as far as I would like. As for the remaining Ravener, he gets closer to the Sicaran. My idea is to lock him up in combat, so we shall see how that goes in a moment. To the surprise of absolutely no one, the Neophrobe casts Smite onto the Chaos Lord and gets it on an 11. You know what that means. For damage, I roll a 4 on a d6, and that is enough to slay the Warlord as his brain literally implodes from the smiting. Straight onto shooting now, and the Trigon aims at the raptors. We have 6 shots hitting on 4s. And we get 3 of them. It's strength 5 against toughness 4, so freeze again to cause a wound, and all 3 wound. But there's no AP on this weapon, so it's a regular free up save, and all 3 of them make it. Now the remaining Ravener tries shooting at the Sicaran. He needs force to hit. He gets 1, and he'll be needing a 5 to wound, and he doesn't. Ravener declares charge against Sicaran. Sicaran wisely overwatches. The heavy bolter first, which completely misses, so now he goes on to the accelerator autocannon. 8 hits, he gets a single 6. So now he's wounding the Ravener on a free up, which he makes on another 6. There is no armor save, so I take 2 damage, but it's all about the 2 last cannons now. He just needs a single 6, and it could be curtains. He rolls and gets a 2. The Ravener is no more. More charges with the Trigon against the Raptors, and the Plasma guys decide not to overcharge. We have 4 shots, we have a single 6. It does wound, and I get a save, but fail on a 3. For distance, the Trigon has Adrenal Gland, so +1, he needs a 10, and he gets a 10. He is hungry for some raptors. As for the Neophrobe, he's also a bit peckish, and makes it on a 6. The Trigon goes first with 6 attacks, hitting on 3s, but only 4 go through, and then strength 7, so 3s again, and 3 do. The Raptors now have 3 6-up saves to make, and don't make a single one, so 3 dead Chaos Space Marines. And the Trigon gets closer to his Neophrobe buddy. As for the Neophrobe, he misses again. The Raptor Champ fights back. He has 2 hits, 1 goes through, but fails to wound. He now needs a 6 for morale to run, and he gets a 5. Just like in turn 2, I only score 1 with no prisoners only. I discard Defend Objective 1. I do get another point though for a Warlord kill, which is 2 points in total, which brings my score to 16, but 2 more go to the Chaos Space Marines. Night Lords turn 5. Mike predicts that he will get one objective, and he draws Domination, Supremacy, No Prisoners, and King Slayer. The Sakaran does not move, he wants more blood. The Hive Tyrant wasn't enough, he now wants to kill the Prime. Can he do it? The remaining Raptor champion has come out of combat and is now trying to shoot the Trigon. He has one hit, one wound, and I have a save to make, which I don't, so I only lose a single wound as it wasn't overcharged. But the real shooting is here. The Sakaran is going to try and assassinate my Warlord. Heavy Bolter hitting on freeze, all 3 hit. It's looking dicey. Freeze to wound, and 2 wounds go through. Let's see if I can save him. Well, I make one of them. So far so good. That brings us to the Accelerator Autocannon and how I hate this gun. So 5 hits go through, he's now wounding on freeze. He only gets 1, so we'll see how much damage it does. I have a 6 of save to make, which I don't, so 2 damage. Okay, this is it. Las Cannons, 2 6s. This could be Warlord kill. I have got 3 wounds remaining on the Prime. One gets a 1, the other a 3, so 1 damage goes through. I have a 6 up save, which I fail, so now it's all about the damage on the d6. A 3 will kill me, and at this point I will let the original audio take over.
Why? Why? Oh my god. What a bastard.
At the end of turn 5, Mike wasn't able to get any of the objective, so 1 point goes over to the Nids. This brings his total to 20. Tyranids turn 5, and this time I predict I will only score 1 point. I draw Overwhelming Firepower and Domination. So a brief movement overview, everything is moving closer to the Sakaran, apart from my Warlord who's hiding behind a building. I skip my Psychic phase since I don't want to smite myself and I have to kill that remaining guy in the shooting or assault phase. The Trigon shoots first, 4 hit, freeze to wound. To stay alive, the remaining Raptor has to make at least 1 3-up save. He's got 4 to make, and he fails 2. He's gone. The Trigon declares a charge against the remaining Chaos Space Marine squad. They hit it on a 6 for Overwatch, they wound it on a 6, but for my save I also get a 6, so no damage. For my charge distance, I get a 12. Now for what could be the final fight phase of the game. The Trigon goes first with 6 attacks, hitting on freeze. Now wounding on freeze, and 4 go through. It's a 6-up save, he needs at least 1, and he makes 2 of them, so 2 Chaos Space Marines survive, and they get to consolidate and fight back with the champion going first. He has 2 attacks, both hit. For wounds though, both fail. For the final Chaos Space Marine, he hits but does not wound. We go now over to morale, even though they can't possibly fail, and they roll a 1. At the end of Tyranids turn 5, I score Overwhelming Firepower, as well as Secure Objective 4, which is worth 2 points, plus my Line Breaker brings me to a total of 22 points. As a quick addendum, that is Defend Objective 4, not Secure it. Mike takes the roll to see if the game continues into turn 6. He needs a 3-up and he gets a 1. The game ends and it's a Tyranid victory. A final parting shot of the landscape, and that would be that. Okay, and that was Nids versus Chaos Space Marines. That was 22-20 for the Nids. How'd it go?
That was a great game.
That was a brutal, good game.
Yeah, we've both got I've got 2 units left, you've got 3 left.
I tell you what, when my Warlord got shot by your Sicaran,
all the guns on the Sicaran,
every single gun he had, and he still survived 2 wounds.
That damage roll over 1, man. That hurt inside.
I could see the damage.
Yeah, I won't be able to sleep tonight.
I tell you what, that Trigon just getting double 6s as well.
Double 6 at the end. If you'd got Blood and Guts as well, that would have just been.
Yeah. I tell you what, Neurophrobe was just a dick, just moving around and smiting and
that 3-up invuln, it can just smite every turn, do whatever it wants.
It can. So who was your man of the match?
It's a difficult one, that, because I don't think anyone really stood out. I guess the Sicaran, but then it's supposed to do most of what it did. And at the end there, obviously the damage roll kind of let me down.
It was quite good, particularly early in the game. Early game, I was thinking, oh no, it's just going to shoot me off the board.
Yeah.
It's going to be a bit of a pain to remove.
Mm.
And you said that it was your recently painted tank, so the fact that it survived undamaged is good, I guess.
Yeah. It's a good take in an army. I can't say I was disappointed with any of the units I took. The Mauler Fiend that took on the Hive Tyrant in combat could have done more damage, but then you've got 4-up invuln, so that's fair enough.
Yeah.
Mauler Fiends are a bit hit and miss because they hit on 4s.
They can be, yeah.
Bit
unreliable.
Other than that, I think there were 2 make or break moments in that game.
There were, yeah.
One which went my way, which was getting the Tyrant that was on objective 1.
Yeah, when he died, thinking, that might be it.
That got me a lot of points. And then the second one was your Warlord being shot at by everything that Sicaran had.
Yeah.
And living. Even though it had advanced, so lost its cover.
Yeah, it lost its cover as well. So you could just shoot it as normal, but no.
Yeah.
Damn those D6 rolls.
Yeah, that Neurothrope's nasty.
He's a pain in the ear, isn't he?
Your Hive Tyrant, when it did the smite to the Mauler Fiend, did 6 damage. That was so brutal.
It wasn't just that as well. It was this little tail cannon too.
Yeah. That was it. Miasma
cannon. Yeah.
Miasma cannon,
just a beast.
It's nasty.
A flying dick.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks again for that, and
thank you.
We'll have to do it more in the future.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. And thank you all for watching this vid. I had a lot of fun playing the game and putting this all together. It was a blast, and although it was my first battle report, it went about as well as it could do. So if you like this vid, then by all means send me a like or a dislike. If you wanted to make a comment, then please leave a comment, and if you want to see more of my content, especially battle reports, then you know what to do. Anyways, I'm Dan, and have a good one. See ya!